Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Maria Furlano. Thank you for joining me today in the Art of Tuning In podcast. I'm so glad you're here. And if you're new to this podcast, welcome. Thank you for finding me. And of course, if you've been listening for a while, I appreciate you so very much being with me. I want to talk today about grounding. It is May 31st, 2020, when I am recording this podcast, and there is a lot going on in the world and in the United States where I am living. And I think that right now, the topic of grounding is an important one. But before I get into this topic, I would love it if we could do our breathing. So if you're new to the podcast, I always take just a moment in the beginning of the podcast to breathe. And what we want to do is we just want to breathe in through our nose, and then we want to exhale through our nose if possible. And we want to focus our exhale to be longer than our inhale. The more that we can remember to do this, the more we're able to tune into our bodies, and it's just a great reminder. It also calms our heartbeat and helps us relax our nervous system. So we're just going to breathe in just for a moment, inhaling through your nose, nice and long and even. And whenever you're ready, just exhale even longer. And if you want to give that a try one more time, go ahead and inhale. And exhale nice and long. So today, as I talk about grounding, I was thinking about how people always say, use the breath to ground yourself. But I'm not sure if people really understand why that works so well. So I wanted to just mention today some key things that maybe will help you in your focus, because grounding and using the breath, yes, absolutely does work. But the reason it works is because of what you're focusing on. So the mind, what you think about, leads your energy. So as your mind thinks a thought or speaks a word, which is just an out loud thought, right? The energy is focused in that direction. So if you're frazzled, if you're overwhelmed, if you're feeling frustrated, fearful, worried, joyful, every single feeling creates a thought, and every thought creates a direction of energy. So the emotions and the thoughts go together, and every emotion and thought that carries with it moves your energy differently in the body. So for example, when I teach people about their emotions, and we just finished filming a whole series on a foundation of breath training for my online membership, The Art of Tuning In. And one of the things that I was reminded of in this filming process was that the breath is just a tool, and people think it's the breath, but it's actually their mind that's working. When we give ourselves a tangible tool to work with, the mind has to follow it. So sometimes when people will say, go and ground yourself and play in the dirt. So the earth, of course, is considered very grounding. It's a very grounding element. The vibration of the earth has a dense quality, and it helps to really root and slow vibration It's very healing. It can be very cooling. Let's say if you put your hands in the dirt or you put your feet in the dirt. So it is a very healing and grounding thing to do, but it's tangible. And so what I'm trying to get across today is that it's very difficult to think your way out of an emotional state that is frustrating you or fearful to you or angering to you unless you've had a lot of training to do that. It is easier to ground yourself by using tangible tools. And that's one of the reasons why breath work is so important. Yoga, so important. Qigong, so important. Exercise, running, walking, anything that gets you moving, get your mind focused on an activity can be very grounding. Some people will use tarot cards, which I think are a fantastic tool. But the thing with tarot cards is that they're a tangible tool, which is wonderful. But in order to really get a good read from a tarot cards, you should be grounded first before you use them. But the reason why they're so enjoyable for people to use is because it's something you can see, feel, read, take in the information, play with. So this is kind of the theme. So whatever you have around you, let's say you're at home and you have, your bathroom with a tub or a shower or just a sink. Fill that space with some water. Put your hands in cool water. Use tangible objects to help you get out of any state that feels overwhelming. When you can refocus, even for just a few moments, you may find it a lot easier to drop into your breath. So we always say, move into your breath, move into your breathing. But our mind can really fight us in this. And a lot of people think, well, I have to stop everything. I have to be quiet. I have to, just be totally still. And that's true. That is ultimately what we want. We want to stop and be still and ground ourselves and breathe. But sometimes we're in a situation where we can't do that. The other day when I was walking, I saw a tree, and it's such a beautiful tree, and it was a very soft tree. And I forget the name of these kinds of trees, but their bark peels like thin paper. And it was just so soft and smooth to the touch. And I was feeling very emotionally sad, and I couldn't seem to shake it. So I went for a walk, and I was doing, my normal get out there, get some breathing, get some movement. And I saw this tree and the beautiful grass around the tree. And I walked over to the tree and I looked at the tree, and I just put my hand on this smooth bark. And then I put my other hand on this bark, and immediately, the energy in me began to soften but also release. My tears could come up, and I wasn't sobbing. They just came up into my eyes as a release. And I held the tree. It's very similar to, I felt like it would be very similar if someone was caring for me and giving me a hug. But I didn't have that around me at the time. And this tree, using this tangible tool of touching the tree and feeling the coolness of the bark and feeling the grass underneath my feet and just focusing on this majestic tree, completely shifted my energy. So I just wanted to send out a reminder to all of the listeners who really know and use grounding tools and may be dealing with a lot of frustration right now, a lot of emotions that are coming up, all justified emotions, and they need to also be processed. So even if you're feeling very justified emotions, which I know I am with everything that is going on right now, those emotions can be very energetically draining. And there comes a point when we have to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, we just don't make good decisions. And always moving forward from a place of grounding is always going to be a much better path and a better decision and a better outcome because we've learned to direct our energy. So in conclusion for today, just a reminder that the reason why breathing and tools of movement and singing and things like that help to ground the energy is because it takes your mind's focus, and the mind leads the chi, right? The mind leads the energy. So hopefully that will give you a little bit of a tip for today. Let me know how you're doing and what you're using to help ground your energy. And I wish you a beautiful week, a week of peace, a week of clarity, a week of finding the answers that you desire, that you need, a week of all of us moving into compassion and moving into a clear vision of coming together in this beautiful world. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being everything you are. If you'd like to learn more and elevate your energetic well-being, I invite you to visit theartoftuningin.com, where you can learn all about our online studio. I look forward to meeting you there.